Would be good to keep exploring because there is more food options to find there. But we're so stressed out, I think we need to relax first. You have to work for everything you've been given, your mom says, digging her shovel in the dirt. It doesn't just happen. That's what this famine is reminding us. He's complaining about the beans. Dis. I don't like being hungry, Dis says, rubbing his stomach. Like, it still hurts, but I don't think I feel hunger like other people do. I know I could starve to death, but he continues, then shrugs. I'm not scared to die, so it's kind of like, wouldn't it be nice to just fall asleep and never wake up? Well, I'll die eventually, and it's not a bad way to go. Cal is listlessly kicking a sports ball around. This is kid stuff, he says, eventually just kicking it into the garden. Sports is just like war games for kids, you know? Winners and losers and thinking like your team is the best and everyone else sucks. He shrugs. I just like doing important stuff now is all. Found a flower on the ground. Mars scowls over her homework. Today is biology, she sighs. This is so dumb. There's only one kind of biology I care about and they don't cover it in school. Wow, Mars. You are very single-minded. Peng is tapping away at a holoscreen, smiling to herself. Great news, Selene, she says. According to the antiquated, culturally insensitive reckoning of mental prowess once used by humans on Earth, and by that I mean IQ testing, I'm officially considered a genius. She shrugs. Tell me something I don't know. Nem scratches at her cheek and then scowls as a bit of blue scales flake off. Stupid acne, she mutters. On top of everything else, I got this too? Alright, so let's do some schooling. And then we will rest and then go out and explore more, I think. So, life sciences or engineering? I think I'm going to keep going with engineering. You head off to lunch break when you see Mars and Tang sitting together in the engineering break room. Tang is eating a sandwich while also scrolling her holopalm with it. And Mars is half collapsed on the table, barely holding her head up on her hands as she pouts to Tang. Come on, she whines. You said we were going to hang out after lunch. Aren't you done eating yet? Tang takes a slow, deliberate bite of her sandwich and chews while making eye contact with Mars. It goes from funny to awkward to hilarious as Mars' face falls. She puts her head on her table and groans. Proper mastication is important for digestive health, Tang answers primly, a smile curling at the corner of her mouth. You can masticate in private, Mars mutters. What are you reading, and how is it more important than me, your best and only friend on the planet? Just something for work, Tang answers. It's really interesting. I didn't know Dr. Instance was so well published, even though she was only 25 when the Strata left Earth. She was practically a prodigy, like me. She looks at her holoscreen again. It's absolutely fascinating. We're so lucky to have such an accomplished researcher here on Vertumna. Yeah, let's read over Tang's shoulder, because our reasoning is 10 or greater. You take a seat at the table and sneak a look at Tang's screen. You catch a few words: recombination, tissue tropism, RNA, protein sheaths, intrinsic immunity, maybe something to do with viruses? From the pictures, possibly also fungi? Without further examination, it's hard to tell. Tang notices you looking and shuts off her holopalm, shooting you a cool look. Is it something to do with the Shimmer sickness? Mars wonders aloud. Either don't look at me, I don't get it, or wait, I want to learn about macrophages, because our biology is 40 or greater. We got +1 help tangent and some friendship with Tang. Tang looks startled, but pleased. She turns her holopalm screen on and tilts it so you can read along. It's dense, but interesting, and definitely about viruses that affect fungi. I didn't know you were interested in Instance's older works as well, Selene, Tang says. Perhaps we could work together to parse the next section. It is particularly challenging. OMG, nerds! Mars laughs, look at you two eggheads. Better you than me. Tang graces you with a small, thankful smile. You've been eating for like a half an hour, Tang. Come on, Mars says, pulling her hands down her face. Please, can we go do something fun before some rampaging Xeno eats us? We're both too pretty to die of boredom. Tang smiles. You think I'm pretty, Mars? She asks, seeming genuinely curious. Mars sets her hand on top of Tang's. The prettiest, she swears, her other hand over her heart. Even prettier than me. Well, I mean, I win in the looks department, but I think smart women get, like, extra points. Tang says, putting her hand on top of Mars's hand and leaning in to fix Mars with an unusually flirtatious expression. Yes, do tell me all about my great beauty, she deadpans. It's all I live for. Mars laughs and tosses her hair over her shoulders, and you tune them out in favor of eating your lunch before you're expected back in engineering. Alright. +1 to mental blue cards and +2 bonus to straights. 5, 4, 3. Huh. Alright. 3, 3. Sure. That's the same. Okay. Is it? Yeah, 33 either way. Alright. Some extra engineering, some reasoning. It's time for Vertumnalia, the yearly midsummer celebration when the colony gives thanks for its good fortune. Well, it would be, but as you file into the main square, you can't help but notice that the feast table is nearly empty. What Anne lacked in resources, she makes up with care. The dishes are lovingly plated, soy cakes glisten, steam rises from buns stuffed with mince, and there are great pitchers of vegetable broth rendered out from even the most inedible food scraps. There's a neat stack of sugar cubes for dessert. Full sugar, what a luxury. In an underwhelming feast, that'll be the highlight. Governor Udicott's welcoming speech this year is short. Her frail body trembles as the welcome you all to Vertumnalia with a dry, whispery voice, then has to be helped off stage. Like all of you, she has been feeling the effects of the famine. Everyone clears away the chairs for the annual competition. Which one do you participate in this year? The science fair again. Tang has reworked her project from last year. You remember it's something terribly complicated about cell differentiation in Vertumnan species, plant, animal, and fungus alike. She melted down when Dr. Instance pressed her on something, but this year she's all business, back and better than ever. She has not only corrected her error, but added a ton more complexity and depth to her analysis. Instance listens intensely, and congratulates her on a marvelous comeback. You're up next. Alright. +1 to blue cards, 1 slot becomes a 3. Great. Well, we'll turn you into a 3. And toss in some 4s. Next round. Finally got high cards. That's nice. If I hold on to these cards till next round, I can have 6, 5, 4, 3, maybe a 2. So I think I'll save those. So we'll save the 6, 5, 4, 3, maybe in case we need them. So what can I pull off here? 4, +2 to cards with gems. Sure. Something like that. Next round. So 6, 5, 4, 3. I don't know. Sure, 6, 5, 4, 3. And then a 5 over there. Or we could go there and get an extra point. Yeah. That's not bad. It's the best. You've been studying the yearly attacks. They only happen during glow, but why? You've been graphing and analyzing surveyor data on the animals and discovered the attacks don't correlate with natural behavior or migration patterns. You thought at first that the wormhole might agitate them. It does put off low-frequency waves during glow that haven't yet been fully studied. So a year ago, you started monitoring the waves and realized that there are actually 2 waveforms, one from the wormhole and a weaker one based somewhere on the planet. During glow, when the vibrations from the wormhole are present, it seems to activate something in the planet's frequency, making it stronger and more complex. These frequencies run right through the colony like targeted beams, drawing animal migrations closer. It's almost as if something is summoning the animals. The judges are amazed. This is a huge breakthrough, and it all happened just because you wanted to win a science fair. You have a lot of work to do to be able to use this theory to forecast the next attack, but Rhett is excited to study this further. You win the science fair hands down. We gain +1 colony defense, 2 friendship with Tangent, another memory, and popular. After the festivities, the whole colony takes a few days off for a break. Well, except for Geoponics, and the Foragers, and the Kitchens, and everyone who uses the break from their usual work to help out in the places that didn't close. Okay, it's not really a break, but you try and take it easy anyway. Alright. Tang, what do you got to say? You spot Tangent, leaning against the wall outside engineering. She's yawning, rubbing her eyes and staring off into space. She startles as you walk up. Oh, Selene, I was just taking a short break. Tired? Yes, she says simply. I didn't sleep last night, or the night before. I was working on a bonus assignment for biology class. You haven't slept in 2 days? More like 3, she replies, then pauses for another jaw-cracking yawn. But as I said, I'm tired. Even my enhanced body has limitations. You look at her quizzically. I don't need to sleep as much as other people. It's a genetic what's-it, she says foggily. You know, a DNA enhancement. I guess sometimes even I forget to do it. I should set myself a reminder. Hollow. Add to schedule, sleeping, nightly, 2300 for 3 hours. Her holopalm emits a tone in response. Tangent nods sleepily. That should do it, she murmurs. Her eyes are practically closed. We'll find her a place to take a nap. Tang follows you obediently into the engineering wing, too tired to protest. You slip into medbay and grab a blanket and a pillow off of a shelf. By the time you return, Tang's already fallen asleep, curled up in an egg chair in the waiting area. You gently place the blanket over her, and she hums happily before going slack with much-needed sleep. Nem complaining about acne. This isn't out here. Okay. Our mom. Your mom's always been one of the strongest people in the colony, but you can tell the famine is taking its toll on her. Between the long hours, the lack of sleep, and the strict rationing, she's beginning to look gaunt. And our dad. Complaining about the beans. I'm conserving energy, Dis says, from his perch on top of a rock outcropping overlooking the forest. Humans aren't used to going hungry. In the wild, animals die of hunger all the time. He keeps the food web balanced. He rubs his nose. Maybe we're just supposed to die here. That's not so bad, if it's what we deserve. Cal is standing in the garden, watching a pair of door's mouth. He's complaining about door's mouth. We read that already. Yep, and we read that as well. Well, I'm going to go out exploring because we got a bunch of our stress back from the Vertumnalia. I can't because I'm injured. Brilliant. Should have rested last month then. Let's keep doing more studying. There's an event I'm trying to hit. To further your engineering knowledge, you're taking a mini-class with Chief Engineer Instance on the construction and maintenance of your holopalms. These devices are engineered bismuth crystals embedded in your palms when you start school. They use the heat and electric currents of the human body to power themselves, to talk to each other, and connect to the HoloNet. Congruence's massive repository of information. You can barely remember life before yours. Holopalms were common by the time Vertumnalia group first formed on Earth, and the square bismuth is grown in the lab, Instance explains, so the physical device itself isn't hard to maintain. The difficulty is in the display and the touch interface. Instance opens her holopalm, displaying a visible projected screen floating above her palm. As chief engineer, she also has one of the fancier versions that combines with a pair of eyeglasses to superimpose a projection right onto what she sees. The interface relies on plasma voxel generators, which require extremely small components that are impossible to nanoprint. The material will have to be mined from Vertumnalia itself. Tang raises her hand. Is it possible to hack these devices? She asks. If the biological electronic interface is so thin, is it possible to hack the human body? In a way, we've already begun to hack the human body, Instance replies. What do you call gene tech? Everything the body does is capable of depends on 4 nucleobases in different configurations. It's no different than congruence. Humans and artificial intelligence are both built from a limited code and are transformed into more by the building. Your genetic enhancements, super hearing, and sight, temperature regulation, increased resistance to fear, disease, and fatigue are all present in the human genome and unlocked by the power of science. The class splits into working groups to explore installing modules onto their holopalm. You and Tangent are in a group together. She begins installing a mod that will let her scan inorganic materials and get a rating of their chemical compositions. What do you do? Try to remove your holopalm. That sounds like a bad idea. Download your own mod, or just learn from Tangent. We will download our own mod. Tang raised an eyebrow, impressed. What mod do you choose? A nonogram puzzle game, something to help find lost objects, a radar speed gun, or a bacteria sniffing sensor? Something useful, I think, so probably one of these 3. Bacteria sniffing sensor seems the most useful rather than finding lost objects. Pseudonym says bacteria. I agree. Digging your holopalm can now help you analyze the presence of over 2,000 different kinds of bacteria and other unicellular organisms. This should be helpful in your studies of biology, mycology, and medicine. Alright. That card is locked in. +1 to blue cards. So what are these going to be? This is going to turn into a 6. This is going to turn into a 4. So 6, 5, 4. I don't think this is going. Yeah. Even though it would be matched in color. So yeah, we'll go with that. Win. +5 engineering, +2 reasoning. Still didn't get the event I was looking for. On to late dust. Tang watches a stinkrow skitter behind some nearby boxes, a look of intense disgust on her face. I hate it here, she spits, shuddering. Giant bugs, constant peril, climate. We were better off on the ship. She grimaces. Many humans carry the erroneous belief that we are great explorers, but I cannot see how this is true. It would be better if we could photosynthesize or breathe gases other than oxygen or endure a greater range of temperatures. No, you see, all humans have ever had going for us is that, until now, there have been more than enough of us to die idiotic deaths without making a dent in the overall reproductive fitness. Ooh, we can study together because our reasoning is high enough. Want to study together? You offer to help Tangent with her schoolwork, but she just shrugs you off. I'm not working on school anymore, she says. Chief Engineer Instant says that I'm smart for my age, and my talents are wasted in school. She opens her holopalm and shows you some of her lab notes. Ugh, it's so much work though, she complains. Honestly, maybe it would be better to be like everyone else. Unintelligent people seem happier. Just then, Nem and Nugget go tearing by with a sports ball hollering at the top of their lungs. Tang shudders. On second thought, forget I said that. I'll keep being smart, thank you. Still hungry because we're in a famine. Alright. Your mom is always, yeah, starting to look gaunt because of starvation. Your dad throws you a full canteen. Here, he says, you need to stay hydrated and rested if you're not eating as much as you should. This says that dying of starvation sounds fine. Yep. And I think, yeah, we're in late dust, which is Cal's birthday. So I'll give him a bobber fruit. Oh wow, that looks delicious, Cal exclaims. Thanks for the birthday gift, Selene. You know I love to eat. And Mars. Complaining about Tang. Alright. I'm still trying to hit that event that I want. Maybe I need to do life sciences? Ooh, I do actually want some biology because we're getting really close. This should get us a perk, so yeah. Tangent stops you on the way to class. Selene, were you heading to life sciences? Good. I could use your help with something, actually. I'm working with Chief Engineer Instance in the biolab. If you give me a hand with it, I'm sure she'll give you credit for the class. Of course I'll help. Honestly, admits Tang, we just need somebody to label petri dishes and move them from the cooler to different machines. A hop eye could do it. Instance is staring unfocused at her hollow eye as she processes the results of the scans. Tang goes and stands beside her, pulling up the scan on her own holopalm. They confer quietly while you wait. Sounds like they're studying the Shimmer, the mysterious illness that some colonists get during pollen every year, including your dad. Instance looks up at you as if just noticing your existence. Ah, Selene, she says. We've been studying samples from some of the colonists who get sick during pollen, including your dad. Some of the stuff in his lungs. It's some kind of fungus. We think the Shimmer is a form of reproduction, Tang explains. It's like a fungus trying to turn us into more fungus like it. It's really neat, actually. Yeah, neat, more like ultra creepifying, or you sound like you like the fungus. Yeah, neat. You spend the rest of the week helping them study the illness. Mostly, this involves following instructions, Mostly this involves following instructions and doing, as Tang loves to repeat, jobs a hop eye could do. Nothing beats hands-on experience, though. This would be easier if we had an actual sample of the fungus, Instance remarks. They're working with some biological samples, a fancy word for snot, but according to them, the fungus is all mixed in with the human cells. Instance has to spend a lot of time in vert space trying to disconnect the two in her models. Mention the fungus statues you found. Instance replies. That is interesting. However, unlikely it is that an untrained adolescent would simply have stumbled across what we're looking for. It is worth chasing any possible leads on the disease. Why don't you take a look at them in your dad's geoponics lab, she suggests. You might learn something there. Tangent and Chief Engineer Instance have been hard at work in the lab trying to find a cure for the Shimmer disease. You join them in the research. You're the one who found a sample of the Shimmer fungus and analyzed it. You're the one whose father suffers the most from it. You confirm that the Shimmer is an airborne fungal disease, and that the thick choking spores in pollen are the same fungi from the Valley of Vertigo, the ones that colonize the host and turn their bodies into more spore-producing fungus. Finally, you have a long-due breakthrough. Sunlight! You try inoculations, antibiotics, antifungal creams, but what finally works is a high-intensity light treatment mimicking the full force of the sun's during dust, coupled with an injection to increase its potency. Of course, Tang exclaims. The fungus colonizes animal life during pollen, and some succumb to it, but the intense light of the dust scourges the fungus from the survivors. It's all part of the natural cycle. The treatment works on samples, now to test it on a subject. Test it on our dad, test it on ourselves, or test it on an animal. Animals or bravery. We will test it on ourselves. Part of that is that if we test it on animal, it would probably give us a bonus to our animal skill, but because of starving and being injured, we don't get bonuses to that. So test it on ourselves and try and boost our bravery. You open a triple-locked research room and pass through an airlock. You don't have your environment suit on, but that's the point. You need a strong dose of the fungus in your lungs. The small room is filled with the Shimmer fungus. It's growing on everything, the floors, the walls, and on lumpy shapes that were some kind of biological matter once. Now it's all just fungus, violet and shiny. You breathe deeply, marveling at the feeling of soupy, dangerous air infiltrating your body. Tang watches safely from behind the thick plexiglass. You can't tell if she's jealous or impressed. Next, you slide into the light therapy machine to bask in the nice warm light for a while. You even have a nap. Dr. Instance takes your vitals and runs samples of your fluids through various machines. She's excruciatingly thorough, but after a few days, she concludes that the treatment is a success. You still carry a high fungal load, but its effects have been nullified by the light therapy. Remarkable, Instance says, going over your findings. Now that we have a frontline therapy, we can begin treating the population to prevent the fungus from taking hold. Gained memory of the Shimmer cure and friendship with Tangent. She looks over at Tang. Selene's discovery will be of great help with our other research. You expect Tangent might be cross that you got the credit, but she nods, looking pleased. You're just thankful that no one was killed, not your father or anyone else. The colony is safe from the Shimmer. That was the event I was hoping for. Alright, +1 bonus to blue cards and bonus to straights. Alright, so 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, that super doesn't work. And we'll just toss that on. Ooh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We'll get a super goal. 6 biology and some reasoning. On to early wet.